Can you afford to retire without Social Security benefits? Well, there's a very good chance that Social Security will be cut by 23% within the next few years. Right now, Social Security, that's your Social Security, is running out of money. Not someday, not decades from now, but within the lifetime of millions of Americans watching this video. The date? Well, the Congressional Budget Office, the CBO, not a think tank, not a blog, not a talking head. The Congressional Budget Office put that number in writing. The Social Security Trust Fund will hit zero in 2033. That's 7 short years from now. And when that happens, if Congress does nothing, every Social Security check in America gets cut automatically by 23%. You paid in your whole working life, 40 years, every paycheck. But they changed the deal. What is Social Security actually? Let me show you how we got here. Not the political version, not the spin, the math version. Because the math is damning. Social Security is a pay-as-you-go system. The people working today pay for the people retired today. That's the contract. That's been the contract since Franklin Roosevelt signed it into law in 1935. And for most part of the 20th century, it worked because the ratio worked. In 1950, 15 workers for every 1 retiree. That's a good ratio. That's a sustainable ratio. But here's the ratio today. 2.7 workers for every 1 retiree. That's not a minor adjustment, my friends. That's a structural collapse in slow motion. And Washington has watched it happen for 30 consecutive years without touching the one fix that could actually solve it. We're going to talk about that fix and why they won't touch it, because that tells you everything. The trust fund math. The Social Security Administration runs 2 trust funds, old age and survivor insurance, and disability insurance. Together, they hold approximately $2.7 trillion in Treasury securities. Now, that sounds like a lot of money, right? It isn't. But here's where the evidence gets really damning. The CBO, again, their job is not to count, not to spin, projects that at current trajectory, both trust funds hit zero in 2033. After zero, Social Security doesn't disappear. What happens is actually worse than disappearing. It becomes a forced balance sheet. Every dollar going out can only be matched by every dollar coming in from current payroll taxes. And payroll taxes in 2023 won't cover what was promised. The gap? 23 cents on every dollar. You were promised $1. After 2023, you're getting 70 cents. Automatically, by law, no vote required, because the law already has an automatic cut mechanism built into it. They built the cliff into the system, and they never told you about it. I want you to think about that for a moment. You didn't miss a payment. You didn't make a bad investment. You did exactly what they told you to do. And the system, by design, is scheduled to deliver you 70 cents on every dollar you earned. That's not a retirement system. That's a slow-motion heist. The wage cap they never talk about. Now here's what they're not telling you. And I mean specifically not telling you. There is a number. It's called the FICA table wage base. In 2026, that number is $184,500. Here's what that means. Every dollar you earn up to $184,500 is taxed for Social Security at 6.2%. Every dollar you earn above $184,500, there's no tax. Zero, nothing. You're exempt. As far as Social Security is concerned, that money doesn't exist. Let me run the math on what that actually means in human terms. A nurse in Pittsburgh making $65,000 a year, she pays 6.2% on every dollar she earns. It comes to about $4,030 a year. No exceptions, no cap, every paycheck. A hedge fund manager in Manhattan making $10 million a year, he pays 6.2% on the first $184,500. That's about $11,439. Then he stops. The remaining $9.8 million untouched, not taxed. His effective Social Security tax rate is 0.11%. Her effective rate, the nurse in Pittsburgh, is 6.2%. The nurse pays 56 times the rate of the hedge fund manager into the same system. This is the definition of a regressive tax. Now here's the part that should make you angry. The Social Security Administration's own actuaries, the people whose entire job is math, have calculated that if Congress simply removed the cap, if everyone paid 6.2% on all earned income, the Social Security funding gap closes for the next 75 years. 75 years. Most of us won't be here when that problem occurs. One change, already calculated, already proven, sitting on the desk. They won't touch it. Ask yourself why a system that's scheduled to cut your check by 23% in 7 years hasn't made the one change that fixes everything. That's not incompetence. Incompetent people don't maintain the same policy for 40 years while watching it fail. That's a decision. Someone is benefiting from the cap staying in place. I know what some of you are thinking. David, this is partisan. Democrats want to raise taxes. Republicans want to cut benefits. This is just politics. No, this is math. And the math doesn't have a party. Let me show you what happened the last time Washington actually fixed this and how they made it worse. The 1983 fix that wasn't. Social Security's last genuine crisis was in 1983. Then Federal Reserve Chairman Alan Greenspan chaired a bipartisan commission on Social Security. Ronald Reagan, a Republican, signed the fix that they agreed to. Democrats and Republicans both voted for it. They raised the retirement age. They taxed benefits for higher earners. They increased payroll taxes. And the Greenspan Commission projected that this fix would hold for 75 years. Here's why they got it wrong. Two things happened they didn't fully account for. First, Americans started living much longer. In 1983, a 65-year-old man could expect to collect Social Security for an average of 14.6 years. Today, 20 years. More years collecting, same math underneath. Second, income inequality began a 40-year climb. More and more American incomes were concentrated above that $184,500 cap. More and more payroll tax revenue, money that should be flowing into the trust fund, vanished into the exemption zone. The fix was built for demographic reality that no longer exists, and the trustees knew this. The Social Security Board of Trustees has issued annual warnings in writing for 30 consecutive years. I didn't stutter. That's 30 consecutive years of official warnings, 30 consecutive years of congressional inaction. That's not oversight. That's a choice. Now, here in 2026, the Social Security Administration is under additional operational pressure. Staff reductions, local office consolidations, claim processing times running 7 to 12 weeks in some states, up from an average of 3 weeks just 2 years ago, all thanks to Donald Trump and Elon Musk. The people who most depended on this system are now having the hardest time accessing it. I want you to follow the pattern because patterns are evidence. So who designed this and why? Here's my read on this evidence. And I want you to evaluate it on the evidence, not on party loyalty, not on what cable news told you. This is not incompetence, although many people in Congress are genuinely incompetent. But a problem of this magnitude is something even an incompetent congressman or senator should desire to fix for their constituents, not maintain the same broken design for 40 years while watching it collapse in real time. It seems to me these genuinely incompetent people don't care about the middle class whose financial lives depends on Social Security. If these incompetent congressmen and senators did care, they wouldn't have ignored 30 straight official warnings. For me, this is design. So here's my theory. Starting in the 1980s, American workers lost their pensions. I've talked about this often here on Clear Signal. Corporate America walked away from defined benefit plans, plans that guaranteed a fixed monthly check for life, and handed workers a 401k instead. A plan where you bear the market risk. A plan where your retirement is now dependent on Wall Street's performance. When that shift happened, Trillions of dollars in guaranteed retirement income moved into the market. That money needed to work somewhere. It became fees, management costs, trading revenue, billions of dollars in annual financial services income that didn't exist when your parents had a pension. The more dependent American workers are on the market and the less confident they are in Social Security, the more of that dependency flows directly into the financial services industry. They have a financial interest in your uncertainty about Social Security. I'm not saying there's a meeting in a room. I'm saying follow the money. When you see who funds the campaigns of the members of Congress, who blocked the wage cap removal for 30 years, the theory becomes evidence. This is not a conspiracy. This is a business model. So here's my clear signal read. There are 3 things you have to watch for. Signal 1, the $50,000 benefits cap proposal. Right now, there is an active discussion in Washington about capping Social Security benefits at $50,000 per year per individual. On the surface, sounds like it only hits the wealthy, right? A $50,000 annual Social Security benefit? That requires 40 years of very high earnings. But here's what they're not telling you about that proposal. The cap is not indexed to inflation. The 1983 law taxed Social Security benefits for individuals earning over $25,000. It was never indexed to inflation. Today, that threshold, unchanged in dollar terms, now catches 50% of all Social Security recipients. People with moderate fixed incomes who never imagined they'd pay taxes on their Social Security check. A $50,000 benefit cap today sounds like it affects the wealthy. A $50,000 benefit cap in 20 years of inflation is a different story. Watch for this proposal. Watch how it's sold. Watch what it becomes over time. Signal 2, the retirement age push. The next major bipartisan fix will include raising the full retirement age to 69 or 70. It would be sold as a response to increased life expectancy. Here's what they won't say. Life expectancy gains are not equally distributed. Wealthy Americans, white-collar workers, professionals, executives are living significantly longer. Working-class Americans in physically demanding jobs, construction, nursing, manufacturing, agriculture, are not seeing the same gains. Some are actually dying younger than they did a decade ago. Raising the retirement age by 2 years is a benefit cut disguised as reform. It cuts the most from the people who most need it. Watch for the framing. They will call it modernizing. Watch the actual math. Signal 3, the FICA cap vote. At some point in the next Congress, there will be a vote removing or significantly raising the FICA wage cap. This will be the most important Social Security vote in 40 years. Watch how your representative votes. Then look up who funds their campaign. That data is public. It's on opensecrets.org. I'll attach the link to that site in the description box. The correlation between financial services industry campaign contributions and votes against the wage cap removal is not subtle. Those 2 data points together, the vote and the funding, will tell you more about your representative's actual position on your retirement than anything they say in a press release. That's the evidence. That's the theory. Those are the signals. Here's the verdict. Social Security is not running short because Americans lived too long, or because families had too few children, or because the economy underperformed. It's running short because for 40 years, the people who had the power to fix it decided not to. Because the one fix that would solve it, removing the wage cap, would cost the highest earners in America something real. And the highest earners in America fund the campaigns of the people who could make that change. This is part of the great wealth transfer I've been talking about here on Clear Signal. The people with the most money make the rules, and they don't want to pay their fair share of taxes, let alone for Social Security. You see, they changed the deal on you. You worked. You paid. Every paycheck. The math was made. The math was solid. The promise was made. And Washington let it drift toward the edge while protecting the exemption of the people who needed the protection the least. Please subscribe to this video, hit the like button, and share this video. Not for the views, but because the person sitting next to you, the one who doesn't know any of this yet, they're counting on a check that's currently scheduled to be 23% smaller. They deserve to know before the cut happens, not after. I'm David Tomsic, and this is Clear Signal. Thanks for watching.